hace tiempo que no estoy, aunque lejos de mi tierra, si Dios quiere, pronto voy. Qué linda tierra, qué bella es, con sus cascadas, tierra a la vez. Qué linda tierra, qué bella es, con sus cascadas, tierra a la vez. Y puro mariachi, ¡hola!
Well, good morning or good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. Let's give a round of applause to the Las Vegas High School Mariachi Band led by Stephen Blanco. Thank you guys so much for being here. So welcome to the official kickoff of the Nevada Recovers Tour. My name is Kirsten, and I will introduce now Brian Bautista. He's a student of the Mariachi Band, and he's going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
At this moment, please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge of allegiance, for which it stands, one nation, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Brian. So here to tell us more about the opportunities presented by the American Rescue Plan Act and the Recovery Tour is Governor Steve Sisolak. Governor?
Thank you. And again, a shout out to the Mariachi Band. They're going from here this weekend, they're playing at Luxor and then Caesar's Palace. So if you talk about a step up, that is great, guys. I'm really proud of you. Congratulations. Good afternoon, everyone. It's really nice to be here with you today, right in the heart of East Las Vegas. I've got a few dignitaries I want to introduce. I know an awful lot of people here, and I'm so proud to know so many of you, but I've got a few that I think we need to draw some additional attention to. Senator Mo Dennis and Senator Chris Brooks are with us, and we thank you guys for being here. Also, Councilwoman Olivia Diaz is here, and Speaker Barbara Buckley has also joined us today, so thank you all. And I've got a lot of chambers present, which is really, really great. I mean, Urban Chamber, the Latin Chamber, the Henderson Chamber, the Las Vegas Chamber, Metro Chamber. It's just amazing because you're where we're going to really need a lot of help, and we appreciate your willingness to get involved and to help us get input in these areas. I want to thank the community leaders that are here for joining us this afternoon to embark on one of the biggest opportunities in the state of Nevada's history. Before we get started, I want to recognize just one or two more people. A very, very special young lady who I am so incredibly proud of. Juliana Ertebey is Nevada's very first national Teacher of the Year. I mean, it was so exciting when the First Lady, and I don't mean my wife, I mean President Biden's wife, got to be here and honor Juliana. It was such an exciting day, and we're so incredibly proud of you and everything that you do every day, representing educators and representing the great state of Nevada. Thank you very much. I also got my great friend, Congresswoman Dina Titus is with us. You'll hear from her shortly. And then we're going to hear from Treasurer Zach Conine, and I can tell you, I don't even know how to put it in words. Treasurer Conine has been on the front lines of this recovery effort. He helped us with the PETS program. He is there at the drop of a hat to help any way possible. He never asks, he never questions, he says just, what can I do, how can I help? And we are so thankful, Zach, that we've got you and your entire office that have done such an incredible job. Additionally, we've got so many of our nonprofits here today that are represented in this community, and we want to thank you as well. I believe, as I said, some of the legislature are introduced. We created the Every Nevada Recovery Framework in partnership with legislative leadership. Majority Leader Ken Azzaro and Assembly Speaker Jason Frierson were instrumental in helping make this a reality, and we thank them for this. As we move forward in this process, I'm excited for our lawmakers to be able to engage with their constituents and help bring more voices to the table as we embark on a truly once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for our state, not to spend, but to invest in our future and create a more resilient Nevada, a Nevada for everyone. It's no secret Nevada was particularly hard hit during the pandemic COVID-19 that we've dealt with. COVID forced us to operate under a new reality over the last year, but we're finally starting to see a light at the end of the tunnel. And as our communities get vaccinated, we're putting people back to work and rebuilding our economy that was devastated by the pandemic. And I'm going to throw out a plug here, I'm going off script. If you haven't been vaccinated, please consider getting vaccinated. If you've got questions, we've got staff you can ask the medical community. It's safe, it's effective, and it's free. So if you haven't been vaccinated, please consider getting the vaccine. If you have been vaccinated, get a neighbor, a friend, or a colleague or someone to go get vaccinated, because that's the only way we're going to end this pandemic once and for all. With the passage of the American Rescue Plan, we now have an unprecedented, and I mean unprecedented, opportunity in front of us. We have billions of dollars, with a B, billions of dollars in federal funding available to help us rebuild, recover our economy from COVID-19, this represents the largest investment that the federal government has ever made in the state of Nevada. Billions of dollars that we're going to work to spend, to invest in a way that's going to benefit us all. While it may be tempting to try and spend this money quickly, make headlines, and get it out there, we have responsibility to make sure that this money is invested deliberately and intentionally so that we can build a better lifestyle, a better Nevada, for not just us, but for generations to come. And that's our intention to do just that. To ensure that these dollars are invested in the most transparent and effective way possible, we must take the needs of our communities into account so we can make our recovery as strong and as equitable as possible. That's what this listening tour that Treasurer Conine is embarking on to set up is all about, is listening to our communities, their opinions, their needs, their desires, and their ideas. I'm excited to announce that beginning today, we are kicking off the Nevada Recovers Listening Tour. This will be the largest and most robust effort to get feedback directly from residents across our state. Thanks to the work of my office and State Treasurer Conine, we are now ready to embark on this 75-day tour to recover from the pandemic and to build a state that we can all be proud of. I'd like to have a short video played which will outline what Nevadans can expect from this tour over the next 15 months. Next few months, not 15. It's going to only be 2.5. Sorry, Zach, it's 2.5 months. I'm not giving you 15.
Throughout this pandemic,
yeah. Okay, go ahead.
we've been faced with impossible choices.
I've been without a job for over a year, and it has been so difficult. I am behind in my rent, and I just worry about my family, and I are going to get evicted.
As a special education teacher, I get to help students who need individualized supports in the classroom. I love my job, but this last year was a challenge to ensure all of my students were engaging in virtual learning since they couldn't be in the classroom safely. I am proud to do my part to keep my students safe.
Throughout the pandemic, Nevadans have found themselves facing impossible situations and have had to make incredible sacrifices. But thanks to the dedication of our residents, alongside the robust vaccination campaign that's underway, we are beginning to recover and rebuild our state, which was devastated by the economic effects of the pandemic. COVID-19 exposed cracks in our social safety net as Nevada families were in need of emergency unemployment benefits, food assistance, and help with their rent and utility bills. But let's get one thing clear. COVID-19 didn't create these problems. They have existed for decades and generations before this pandemic. For too long, we have underinvested in vital programs and services that help to increase opportunities for Nevadans. As a result, we've consistently found ourselves at the bottom of every bad list. This ends today. We have too many kids in too many crowded classrooms. Our lack of affordable housing has resulted in skyrocketing rent, while home ownership is becoming increasingly out of reach. We have thousands of workers living paycheck to paycheck who are in need of training programs that will help them find good paying jobs. Fortunately, we now have the opportunity to do something for Nevadans that we've never done before.
With the passage of the American Rescue Plan, the state of Nevada is set to receive more than $11 billion in funding to help support working families and small businesses who've been so hard hit by the coronavirus pandemic. The funding I helped secure is the single largest infusion of federal dollars into our state in history. We have a unique opportunity not only to recover from the devastating impacts of this pandemic, but to also build a stronger, more resilient economy where every Nevadan has a seat at the table. By listening to the voices of Nevadans and working together with federal, state, and local officials, we can develop a plan to invest directly into our communities and uplift hardworking families.
That's why we're hitting the road and going on a listening tour over 75 days, so we can go directly into communities, meet people where they are, and listen to how they think these dollars should be spent. Through town halls, community meetings, and some hard conversations with real people, we'll better understand the challenges that Nevadans face every day as we work to find long-term solutions towards building the Nevada we deserve.
It's going to take all of us to make sure that the economic damage of the last year never happens again. But by working collaboratively with our community partners, we can ensure that working families have the resources that they need to put food on the table and recover from this pandemic stronger than ever.
We must make sure that our veterans, people with disabilities, and our tribal communities always have a seat at the table when we're having discussions about funding. By investing these federal dollars directly into the community, we can ensure that they're spent in the most transparent and effective way possible.
Throughout Nevada, we need to do more to address our crumbling infrastructure. Because of the American Rescue Plan, we can now create thousands of good-paying jobs while fighting the effects of climate change. We can also work to build our broadband in our most vulnerable communities so that everyone has access to reliable internet and no one gets left behind.
Nevada's restaurants, bars, venues, and small businesses were hit especially hard during this pandemic. But through a partnership between Washington, the state, and local leaders, we were able to deliver much needed relief, but we know that we still have much more work to do.
Now that we're coming out of this pandemic, it's going to take all of us working together to rebuild our state into what we know it can be. I'm incredibly proud to launch this statewide listening tour, and I'm encouraging every Nevadan to join us and make their voices heard. It's not going to be easy, and I'm sure we're going to have difficult conversations along the way. But we have a responsibility to use these federal dollars as effectively as possible. I hope you'll join us over the next few months as we work to build a more resilient state for the next generation of Nevadans. Let's get to work.
Thank you. And Zach, that is incredible video. You did an absolutely phenomenal job. Your team, if we could have the Treasurer's Office team stand up. I mean, you just got Eric here? Okay. Okay. Over here, okay. Thanks for everything, guys. You were absolutely incredible. I am incredibly proud of the sacrifices that Nevadans have made throughout this pandemic. In the face of insurmountable odds, we came together to protect our most vulnerable members of our community. And now, the real work begins. With this federal funding, we have an opportunity that we've never had before to fix systemic problems that have existed for decades. I'm hopeful that everyone here today will help solve some of these long-standing problems in our states. Of course, none of these federal dollars would have been available to us without the efforts of Nevada's congressional delegation in Washington, D.C. And Dina, we thank you for that.